Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. This is the English summary, a just and a translation of the Majlis of Hazrat Qamar Uzzaman Saheb Damat Barakatuhum, which took place on Wednesday, the 21st of Rajab, 1443, corresponding with the English date, 23rd of February, 1443. This Majlis took place after the Ishraaq Salat at the residence of Hazrat Wala Damat Barakatuhum. Hazrat Wala is saying and speaking about muhasaba, and he says that a ghair muqallid person came and he started asking that what is this about muhasaba that you people speak about in this and that and the other? What is the suluk and tasawwuf, whatever? And Hazrat Wala said, I said to him, like how we correct and we make straight our outward and the external, we also do the same with the internal. And I said to him, Hasibu qabla an tuhasabu. I mean, it's the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Whatever we are doing regarding the external, that's in its place. But to remove these evil characteristics as well, that of hatred and jealousy and pride, and the list goes on. You know, Hakim Usmani was, a person came to him and said that Hakim Sahab, acha karda. That Hakim Sahab, make it right, or do this, or do that, or do the other. Immediately, now look at how much of istihzar and how much they kept these things alive in their hearts and in their minds. Immediately he said, La tushrik billah, inna shirka la dhulmun azim. Do not associate partners to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because shirk is definitely a grave type of zulm and oppression. He was a famous Hakim, Shifa'ul Mulk, so common, people knew him throughout the land. He would tell Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab that give me Qamar Uzzaman, and 40 years of experience I will teach to him. Nevertheless, after these 10 usul and principles mentioned here, Asharu Qawaid fi Tazkiyatin Nufus, after explaining that, the author goes on to say that after explaining these principles which assists a person in rectifying and purifying his self, it becomes clear that the self needs constant supervision as long as it's in the world of respite and action before man stands in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of Qiyamah, and before he disregards the rectification of his self, which then becomes the cause of his destruction. Now, the pious predecessors used to remind people and advise them on the need to take stock of the self and to rectify it before the opportunity passes and before death descends. In concluding this monograph, I think it will be appropriate to quote some pieces of advice related to our pious predecessors on this particular subject. Now, وَمَا خَلَقَتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. I have not created jinn and man except that they can worship me. Now think for a moment, even this one roti that comes in front of you, do not be negligent regarding it. Think of how many stages it's passed through, how much it went through, all things working, put together, and that's now in front of you. أَيَحْسَبُ الْإِنسَانُ أَن يُتْرَكَ سُدًى. Do you think that insan would just be left like that? No. There is a purpose for everything. So much so Allah Ta'ala has even created the mosquito. There is a reason for it, and the benefits of it, and how and why. وَأَمَّا مَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ وَنَهَى النَّفْسَ عَنِ الْهَوَىٰ. The person who fears standing in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and he prevents his nafs from its desires, فَإِنَّ الْجَنَّةَ هِيَ الْمَأْوَىٰ. Then Jannah will be his abode. Nevertheless, Khalifa Hazrat Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala an says O servants of Allah, know well that you are spending your mornings and evenings in a life whose knowledge is concealed from you. If you can spend your lives doing good for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then do it. But you will never be able to do it without Allah's help. Hasten while you have been given respite before your life comes to an end and you are then returned to your evil actions. There are people who made their lives for others while forgetting their own selves. I prohibit you from being like them. Hurry up, seek deliverance, seek deliverance. There is a swift seeker behind you. He moves extremely fast. He is death. He is death. Allahu Akbar. Umar radiyallahu ta'ala an used to say, يقال كل يوم مات فلان ومات فلان, that every day it said, certain person has passed away. Didn't you hear? Certain person has passed away. ويقال يوما مات عمر, and a day will come when it will be said that Umar has passed away. Now you know these people, intellectual people, high in position, working in the magistrate's office, etc., or they are called upon every 2-3 months to the high court to give a report of this or that or the other. One of these such people were there, Hazrat Wala is quoting and saying, and he was absolutely restless, pacing up and down. And I said, what's up? And he says that I have to go to the high court today and I have to go and produce this and do this and that and the other. So Hazrat Wala says to him, but you and your position and this and that. And he says, no, Maulana, you don't know what it is and how it is to present yourself in the high court. Allahu Akbar. Then what can we say about the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of Qiyamah? Hazrat Khaja Azizul Hasan was in charge of the schools and the madaris there as an inspector. And on one occasion he enters the classroom and the teacher there is busy writing something on the blackboard, and he did not notice his entry into the classroom. Nevertheless, continuing with his lesson, after a while when he realized and he looked back and he realized that the inspector is behind me, he collapsed. He fell down unconscious. Hazrat Khaja Azizul Hasan, nevertheless, after the end of his work, in the end of the day, he comes to his mentor, Hazrat Tanvi, and he relates this to him. And he says, Hazrat, look at this. He just seen me and he collapsed. But meaning just me, I'm an ordinary person. And, he explained everything. So Hazrat Tanvi rahimahullah, after him relating all of this to him, he's trying to say that just by seeing me, then what would actually be the great court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and muraqabah and muhasabah on the day of Qiyamah, etc. So Hazrat Tanvi rahimahullah said to him, Acha, are these thoughts coming to you now? Are you starting to understand this here? Allahu Akbar. So Umar radiyallahu ta'ala says, Hasibu qabla an tuhasabu, that take stock of yourself before you are taken to account. Wazinu anfusakum qabla an tuzanu, weigh the level of your actions before you are weighed. وَتَزَيَّنُوا لِلْعَرْضِ الْأَكْبَرِ, embellish yourself for the greatest presentation. يَوْمَ تُعْرَضُونَ لَا تَخْفَى مِنْكُمْ خَافِيَةٌ, the day when you will be presented to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and nothing will be concealed from you. So this masala of muraqabah and muhasabah, these are important aspects. Sabse aham masala Sufiya ke yaha. It is important discussions and themes according to the Sufis. Rather, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam himself says, "Akthiru dhikr hazimil lazzat, yani al-maut." Remember abundantly the destroyer of desires, that is death. That is death. The third Khalif, Uthman radiyallahu ta'ala an, says, "O man, know well that the angel of death who has been appointed to you is forever behind you. He goes to others as well. He goes to others as well. For as long as you are in this world, so long as you in this world, he's also going to others, as though he's going to others and has the intention of coming to you. You should therefore be on your guard. Be ready for him. Do not become heedless of him, because he never becomes heedless of you. O man, know well that if you become negligent about your own self and do not prepare it, no one else is going to prepare it for you. The meeting with Allah is inevitable. Protect yourself then and do not leave it to others." Allahu Akbar. Hazrat Wala is saying, on one occasion I was with Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Saheb. We were alone on the platform at a train station. And Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Saheb said to me, "Come, let us perform 2 rakats." Now look at how much they kept this in front of them and in their hearts and in their minds. Come on, let's read 2 rakats. So even this zameen, even this path, this part of the earth will bear witness and give shahadat to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on behalf of us, in our favor, on the day of Qiyamah. Allahu Akbar. Hazrat Ali radiyallahu ta'ala used to say, "O people, the thing which I fear most for you is high hopes and the following of desires. High hopes cause one to forget the year after. Following of desires leads one away from the truth. Listen, the world has turned around and is moving back. The year after is approaching." You know, it reminds me, I must have said this to you people sometime. Hazrat Wala is saying, my grandson Usama, you know, we used to sit in the car, little children, and the car used to pass by and he would say, "Dada, kaun gari? Kya gari? What car was this here that passed us?" So I used to say, "No, it passed us, it's gone already. It's gone already. Let's see in front what's coming. That one is gone already." So that's the same nasihat of Ali radiyallahu ta'ala an, in which he says that the world has turned around, it's moving back, it's going. But the year after is approaching, it's coming towards us. Let us be worried about that. Become a devotee of the year after and do not become a devotee of this world. Today is the opportunity to do good actions. While to do actions, today is the time, while there is no accounting of those actions. Tomorrow will be the accounting, while there will be no actions. Hassan al-Basri rahimahullah used to say, a believer supervises his own self. He takes stock of his self. Those who take stock of their selves in this world will have an easy accounting on the day of Qiyamah. Those who disregard accounting of their selves in this world will suffer a difficult reckoning on the day of Qiyamah. Now Maymun ibn Mahran used to say, لا يكون العبد تقيا حتى يكون لنفسه أشد محاسبة من الشريك لشريكه. A person cannot be truly righteous until he is more strict in taking account of his self than a partner is of his partner. Then a partner, a business partner, how strict he is with the other partner. A person cannot truly be religious until he is more strict than that. وَلِهَذَا قِيلَ, and it is for that reason that it is said, النَّفْسُ كَالشَّرِيكِ الْخَوَّانِ إِن لَمْ تُحَاسِبْهُ ذَهَبَ بِمَالِكَ, that the self is like a treacherous partner. This nafs is like a treacherous partner. If you do not take stock of him, he will steal your wealth. Imam Abdullah ibn Mubarak, rahimahullah ta'ala, who was from amongst the senior ulama, he used to say that the selves of the righteous, the selves of the righteous of the past use to prompt them willingly towards good, whereas ourselves do not prompt us unless we are forced. We should therefore compel ourselves. Ibn Mubarak rahimahullah was talking about his time. What then can be said about the situation of our time? We beg Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We beg Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through His beautiful names and His lofty qualities to set right for us our deen, which guarantees our protection, to set right for us our worldly activities, in which lies our livelihood, and to set right for us our year after, to which we have to return. We beg Him to make life a means for increasing in every good, and death a break from every evil. O Allah, Ati nafsi taqwaha wa zakkiha anta khayru man zakkaha anta waliyuha wa mawlaha. O Allah, give piety to ourselves, purify it, for you are the best to purify it. You are the guardian and the master. Wa sallallahu ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Peace and salutations to our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, his family and his companions. Now this risala of the usul of Tazkiyatun Nufus, Allah Ta'ala give us the tawfiq and the hidayat of making amal on it, and in the end the nasihat of the Khulafai Rashideen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq and the hidayat of making an amal on that as well. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم بحرمة سيد النبي الكريم صلى الله عليه وسلم.